WolfPack Nation? Welcome back again for another episode here. As again, today we're actually going to be doing a little bit different, where again, we've had a couple of different spring sports that have come to an end here, including softball, men's tennis, women's tennis, and track and field. So what we're going to do is kind of touch base on each of them individually, just to kind of wrap it up, wrap the bow on it a little bit here. As again, we kind of wrap it up here and head into baseball, and also too, we still got some women's tennis here going on as well right now, individual women's tennis, so make sure to check that out as well. But starting off here first, again, women's tennis, I think this year, especially over the last 2 years, has probably been the most impressive sport that NC State's had. Obviously, going to the Final Four last year, making it to the Elite Eight this year, again, falling just short to number 4 overall Duke. So again, no shame whatsoever in that loss whatsoever. And then men's tennis making it to, if I remember correctly, our third ever Sweet 16. And the first one coming, well, no, actually, I think second, actually, because the first one was back in 2007. So again, it's just showing that again, men's and women's tennis is just, it's athletics things in general. So let me ask you first, Greg. I mean, we've talked about this before, but I just can't say enough that it just seems like it's almost like there's something in the water that literally every single sport in NC State athletics right now is on an upward trajectory. There's not a single one out there that you can really look at and be like, oh, they're on the way down. Like overall, for the most part, we're heading up and up and up. If you look at kind of the overall vision, so I mean, do you feel like a lot of it really is because of the work that Debbie Al put in and Boo's kind of taken over for? I mean, what do you kind of look as kind of the contributing factors?
Yeah, I definitely think that would be the case. I know the men, their final ranking came out. I believe they finished 17th for the year.
18th.
18th. Okay. But that's still the highest ever in program history before they ended. So, but yeah, I definitely think that you're starting to see these hires that have been around for a better part of 5 to 7, 8, and during 10 years, that they finally gotten these programs where they wanted to. It takes a couple of recruiting classes to lay that foundation. And then once you get that foundation, then you start, exceeding expectations year in and year out. And then that just continues to build your program. And some of it's just like, why wouldn't you want to come to Raleigh, North Carolina? It's a beautiful place, warm weather, great facilities. Debbie did a great job in getting a lot of those either built or, upgraded. And then, like you said, Boo's just done a great job of maintaining steady course.
Right. It's kind of like the saying, you got a full steam train, so just don't wreck it. Like, it's going, here's the keys, don't wreck it kind of deal. Like, just keep it rolling. Yeah, because keep in mind too as well, WolfPack Nation, that we're recording this on Wednesday, May 25th. So as of today, we actually just got the amazingly exciting news that Abigail Rincelli pulled off what some have seen, or from what I've seen on Twitter, calling it the biggest upset in NCAA singles history. Actually, there's actually been some that have said that. She beat. I'm trying to find. I've lost it. Okay, the defending national champion Emma Navarro from Virginia in the round of 16. This afternoon, which again, Emma Navarro was the top seed. And also to keep in mind as well that this Abigail Rincelli, you may think that she's a senior going out on the high note. Oh, no. She is a sophomore, in fact, which is crazy to think about. That
she
again,
won
that
as a
we're going to be
freshman
having
then?
her.
Wow.
What? So no, she's a sophomore this year. She's a sophomore
Right.
this year.
When she's defending national champion, that means she won it as a freshman, which is what's crazy.
No, sorry, I'm talking about Abigail Rincelli. Abigail Rincelli is a sophomore.
State.
I apologize.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. No, you're good. So what I'm saying is again that it's crazy that Abigail is obviously ridiculously good, and again the fact that again, I mean, we're going to have her around for another 2 years. Like it's exciting to think about. But to kind of piggyback off your point though, is that her freshman year we went to the Final Four. So again, it just again it could build off that success.
Right.
So, because one of the things that kind of stood out to me too, looking at their record, looking at the schedule, I think because we kept on talking about this during the live streams about it, just seemed like it was week after week that they were beating some top 10, top 15 opponent. It was I think they beat 9.
They beat Cal.
I think it was like
Cal was one team they beat before they got to the Sweet 16.
Who was number 11? Mm-hmm.
Or
So
the elite 80, excuse me, and then they lost to Duke. So I mean,
correct.
Duke's one of the best teams in the country when it comes to tennis and women's tennis in this case, and there's no shame in losing to them. It does suck that you lost to your rival right down the road, but I mean,
sure.
I think there's not been a lot of expectation in the fan base about tennis. I mean, to be honest with you, the team, I don't think the fan base is really focused much at all about tennis.
No.
But in my opinion, I think they should. I think when you're playing at this high of a level, this league level, and I get it's not revenue sport, but you're doing something that historically has not been done in NC State history. I think it warrants the fans paying more attention to those programs, because I think Coach Spencer for the men's team and then Coach Earnshaw for the women's team, they've done a really good job, guys. And I mean,
amazing job.
Both. I mean, imagine basketball and women's basketball all both being in the Sweet 16. At least one of them make, at least the Sweet 16. One of them making the Elite 8. Mm-hmm. That'd be a huge deal for NC State. And I think when you have big upset like this with Rincelli beating Navarro, that's a big deal. So I'm excited about the program. I think this is something they can build on. They can take it when it comes into recruiting next year. So
mm-hmm.
I think they can just kind of build on this and maybe take it for the next step next year. Maybe we can get both of them in the Elite 8 rather than just one.
Let's not forget too, in the women's side of the draw, 4 of the top 8 teams were ACC teams. You had Duke, UNC, Virginia, and State.
Yep.
So
mm-hmm.
to finish 4th among those
ACC teams.
Yeah, exactly right. So not only to be top 4 in the country, but you have to beat 3 of them in your own conference. I mean,
mm-hmm.
to think about it in those terms, that's a tough draw. That's a tough path. And so to be able to compete with the I don't know if they're necessarily blue bloods, but the top tier in not only in the conference but in the country,
right?
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
Well, and because also too, Virginia won the team women's national championship. So that means that you had Duke, Carolina State, and Virginia were all in the Elite 8, which again is just like you were saying. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. And I actually was counting too while you guys were talking. And so this year State has beaten 10 they've had 10 top 25 wins this year, which is unbelievable. I mean, any team within NC State, if you could say you've beaten 4 of the top 25 teams in the country, 10 of the top 25, I think I said 4. That's something to hang your hat on, which is, I mean,
right.
That's pretty.
It's not easy
for sure. It's not easy at all. And I know that even men's tennis as well, taking a look back at their schedule as well. I know they had a big win against UNC. I don't think we've been beaten UNC at UNC in a long time. So to beat them was huge. And then obviously to recap kind of their road to the NCAA tournament. So they beat number 19 Middle Tennessee, and then they lost to number 1 seed TCU 4-0 at TCU. So again, no shame whatsoever. No, nothing lost whatsoever losing that. So again, it's just got to give a huge hats off here once again to Coach Earnshaw for the women's side and for the men's side as well. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Coach Spencer. I apologize.
Spencer's
Coach
the men's coach.
Well.
Earnshaw is the women's coach. Yeah.
Correct. So huge hats off to you guys, but also to the staff as well, who's really built something special here in Raleigh. Any last points to mention as well about men's or women's tennis, Macon or Greg?
No, I'm sure the future is bright. I'm sure they've got a great recruiting class coming. I think the women had a really strong recruiting class, if I remember correctly. I think they had a top 5 recruiting class for next season, if I remember.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and to your point, the young lady that beat Navarro, like she's only a sophomore, so
Rancelli.
there's
Abigail Rancelli.
there's going to be some tough competition within the team just to be able to play in matches. So that's going to be something to watch here in the next couple of years.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Well, and again, just like you said, why not come to Raleigh right now? I mean, seriously. I mean, the
other thing you look at too, women's basketball was not anything a little while ago, and look at where it is now. I mean, what had historically had been, but this is an even bigger deal in that. I mean, relatively speaking, it's again not a profiting sport that you make big money on or anything like that, but this is a you're living in history. We've mentioned this before. This is like the golden age of NC State athletics. We realize basketball has been really on the downswing pretty bad lately in the last 30 years lately, but it's a big deal, guys. Every sport's doing well, and in this case, we're just wanting to highlight the tennis teams because I think I think tennis matches are pretty fun to watch when you go to them, and even when you watch them on TV, they're pretty interesting. So,
yeah,
they got a lot to build on. They've got so much success with, I think, somewhat so little fan support. So, I think the team should really go in and involve supporting them. The fans should really be there, and the season's over, but just support them.
Something to keep in mind for next year. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they'll have a fall season, like a fall/winter season with the indoor season. So there'll be opportunities for fans to get out there, especially if you're looking for something to do in the winter time, go out and see a tennis match. You don't have to be stuck in the house.
Absolutely. Amen to that. So jumping on over now to softball, and softball, for me this year, it was obviously started off with a bang. And kind of taking a look back here at the schedule, I mean, we were red hot. I think winning like 14 of our first 15 games, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like what are we doing? Like, and then I mean, overall, I mean, again, it wasn't a bad season overall. I mean, 33-23 overall. 7-17 in conference is but ACC this year in softball, just like with baseball, is super competitive. I mean, just like with baseball, how you might see 8, 9, maybe even 10 teams, possibly even make the NCAA tournament. You saw that with softball as well, and a lot of them hosting. And I think Virginia Tech got the number 2 overall seed, number 2 overall seed.
Yeah,
and then Florida State was 2. That's right. Florida State was 2. Virginia Tech was 3.
Clemson was a top 10.
Clemson was top 10 as well. So again, I mean, they were super competitive this year. Georgia Tech was up there. There was a lot of them. Duke was up there too. So, so again, I'm not necessarily going to harper too much about that. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I keep on, have to remind myself is obviously, softball is coming off of the number 4 overall ranked recruiting class in the country. So the idea is that ideally that we're going to, starting next season, we're going to see some of these players start to move their way into the starting lineup. This year, you had a lot of returning, returning experienced talent, like the Randy Farrakers, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name as well. But you have like some transfers in, like Libby Whitaker as well. So you had a lot of players that you were kind of trying to, see what they had, let them go out with their senior year. And then Logan Morris, that was the name of the player I forgot. So I apologize, Logan. But again, now this year, those spots have opened up. So we're going to start to see some of those players come in here as well. But kind of take a look at Coach Patrick Swift, because for those maybe you don't know, she actually came on at NC State back in 2018. And last year actually was a historic year, actually, with she actually had the second highest ranked win in program history, being number 6 Florida State. She had 3 of her athletes earn all ACC honors, and Angie Rizzi, Logan Morris, and Randy Farricker. So again, I think that just like, again, that you're not seeing a huge upswing here, but you're seeing movement in the right direction. Again, at the end of the day, what's the saying that, that like a marathon starts with the first step kind of deal, that,
or you can't eat an elephant all in one bite.
Exactly. Oh no, the journey to 1,000, something like that. Again, I think you get the point here. That then you got to start from somewhere. You got to start from somewhere. So
it's just starting to get a little weird.
Well, hey, well, again, at the end of the day, just trying to say that, again, you got to start from somewhere. And at the end of the day, we're moving the right direction with getting some exciting talent in, and again, able to get some big wins off the bat. So, yeah,
sure.
I mean, exciting to see what Coach Baxter Swift can do here, specifically next year. I think next year is hopefully when we start to see a huge positive movement in the right direction.
And you got to remember too, she lost a whole year for the COVID year, right? So if she's only been here since 18,
right.
There's only been like 3 or 4 full seasons. So it takes time to build your program the way you want it.
Absolutely.
You get people transfer out. You got, you got to, your first year or two, you kind of have a makeshift roster. Maybe not the folks that you want to, ride or die with, but they'll start to become your building blocks. And like you said, if you got the 4th ranked class coming in, or had, you'll see more of that next year. That should be like a step, right? So this is all a process.
Absolutely. So make sure to because one thing as well I wanted to mention too is in our series against Florida State, we actually had the highest series attendance in the history of the program, which again, I mean, says a lot for just that, again, that people are excited about the potential that this program has. Because obviously I think that, a lot of it was probably to, see a top ranked Florida State, which I completely get. But I think a lot of State fans there, including myself, were there to see, this team is a team that has good enough pieces that, they can make some noise against a team like Florida State, especially at home.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? We could take one of those games against them, and we were daggone competitive in all 3 of the games that we played. I mean, we didn't lose to any of them by run rule. I mean, we were competitive in every single game that we played against Florida State. So, I mean, that's a huge, I think, to me, kind of piece to hang your hat on. So, again, it's going to take time, but again, I think that for this softball team, make sure WolfPack fans to make sure go and give them some support. Kind of wrapping up here with track. Wanted to kind of talk about them here a little bit, as they're in the process right now of the NCAA tournament. So from the ACC tournament, the women's team finished 4th behind Florida State, Duke, and then Miami, who won it all. And then the men finished 11th. So, but it's kind of one of those things that, we would love to obviously have on. I would love to actually have on a track and field person, like whether it's one of the players or one of the coaches, because I'm curious kind of how it works in terms of the difference between cross country and track and field in terms of, do you have the different athletes, or is it the same athletes, just kind of different preparation kind of deal? Because I know that, cross country wise, we're pretty much
national
winning
champions.
the ACC. Yeah, we're winning the national championship with women's, but we're pretty much winning the ACC championship pretty much every single year for women's. Then we're right there at the top for men's. So that's kind of one thoughts going across my head, as well as, obviously got to point out though with for women's, we had Caitlin Tui, who won the first individual title for the ACC title. Say again?
Now I'm saying she's crazy good. Like she's doing really well.
Yes.
I believe she had the 7th fastest time of all time in that event.
4 minutes 6.84 seconds in the women's 1500 meter. That ranks 7th in collegiate history. The mark set facility, meet, school, and personal records, and earned the sophomore first team All ACC honors. Again, sophomore first team All ACC honors. That's crazy. And then Anna Vess tabbed a podium finish in the event as well, posting a 4 minutes 12.04 seconds behind Kaylin Tui, which ranks fourth in program history and fourth in the nation, and attaining first team All ACC accolades. So,
what was the distance on that again? Was that the mile? Like how far?
It doesn't say. I'm sorry, it doesn't say. I'm thinking 1500 meter because she competed with Caitlin.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm not good at meters to miles, but what is that? Is that a mile? I'm not. I mean, if you look at my shape, you can tell I haven't run a lot of track and field.
Sure.
I know.
So what was her time again? 4 minutes 12 seconds.
4 minutes 12 seconds. Yep. 4 minutes 12 seconds.
Fast.
She's essentially sprinting.
Fast. Yeah,
she's essentially sprinting
That's what I mean.
a whole mile.
Well, again, I can't even wrap my head around that. Again, basically sprinting a mile. That's insane. I can't even wrap my head around that. So,
I did a mile was in my car. So,
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Oh man. So again, just can't speak enough already. Obviously, it's impressive. What this cross country track and field team is doing, and so. Obviously all state fans, I'm sure, are well aware of the women's team, but obviously the men's team as well. It's going to take time, but again, we're getting there with the men's side, but women's side, we're there. We're competing right there with the top of with the creme de la creme, the best of the best. And so, just hats off, congratulations to the team and the staff, and definitely looking forward to what can be accomplished here at the NCAA tournament. But also,
what do they do? Let's see what they do at nationals.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. So that being said, WolfPack Nation, so we appreciate you all sticking with us here. Again, we kind of run through some of these spring sports here as they wrap up their season. And again, make sure to support them and again, just enjoy the road up. We're heading in the right direction with these teams as well as with other sports here within NCAA Athletics. But make sure, again, if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, which is free to do, and make sure you don't miss out whenever we release NC State content. Also, to give this video likes, that way YouTube will put this video in front of more NC State fans. Also, to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you all so much. As always, go Pack, y'all.